Thank you, Marianne, for inviting me to be here today to share my experience in the NICU. And it's really nice to be back and see so many familiar faces. A lot of you were part of my journey in the NICU. I'm really grateful. So, welcome to the neonatal intensive care unit, also known as NICU, also known as a miracle place, a miracle room. To see babies growing from 2 pounds to 4 to 6 to 9 before your eyes is incredible. To see families adapting the needs of their babies and grow in confidence as their baby grows is fantastic. To see our babies' eyes fused and open for the very first time in their lives is just magical. You see, you guys decorate all the incubators so we can look past the equipment and past the diagnosis to see this beautiful child with an enormous will to live. It's just amazing. It's an amazing team of doctors, nurses, RTs, LC, social workers coming together to take care of the babies and the families. It really restored my faith in humanity. It made me see a room filled of love, full of hope and prayers and devotion from all of you to us. It's just hard not to feel inspired and grateful for being there. And the NICU really changed me profoundly, and it really made me rise from the challenge to really live my life on purpose right now. So next slide, which is the same one. Welcome to the neonatal intensive care unit, also known as NICU. The NICU is hard. It's hard to see tiny babies covered in wires and monitors and IVs and breathing machines and feeding tubes. It's very hard to give birth and be separate from your child. It's very hard to leave your baby with completely strangers and go home. The NICU is intense. It's very hard to try to understand complex medical diagnoses and sometimes having to make impossible choices. The NICU is noisy. It's no ending alarms and beeps. For you guys, you're immune to it. But for us new parents, it's totally overwhelming. We go home and the alarms still go on our heads forever. So the NICU changed people forever. Some for the better, some for the worse, and some struggle for the rest of their lives. So what happened? Same NICU, different perspective. You see, some, you never see the bridge. Some, you take a very, very long time to see the bridge, and some just need a little guidance and a little support to see the bridge and get through it. So how many of you saw the bridge right away? Perfect. So how many of you would like to guide parents to see that bridge and get them through it? Right? This is what you guys do every day. And I think we all together, veteran parents and you guys, so important, and the doctors, to make us see that bridge and get through it. So the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you how I changed my perspective into the NICU, and I literally went from surviving to thriving. So my journey started exactly 3 years ago. I was expecting twins, and halfway through my pregnancy, we found out that one of my twins was not going to make it to birth. He had a heart defect, and we didn't know what to expect. They gave us so many different scenarios. None of them looked good. And 25 weeks, one day I woke up very swollen. We came to emergency and they said, "Oh, you're in premature labor." Wow, that was not one of the scenarios that was given to us. So they managed to stop my labor. They sent me home on bed rest. A couple of days later, I came back for my regular follow-up, and Michael, my twin A, had passed away. But they still sent me home. Everything looks fine. Come back if anything changes. So 2 days later, I started feeling very, very sick. We came back and I was rushed into the OR, emergency section, and my world kind of stopped. I saw Michael. He already passed away, and Gabriel was rushed into the NICU, my home, for 146 days. So I had a child before, and my husband said, you're going to go to see Gabriel now, but Gabriel is very small. But in my mind, he was going to look something like this, but in a smaller version. This was my first son, Thomas, born at 42 weeks, 9 pounds, 4 ounces. And that was my idea of a newborn. So I expect to see Gabriel, just smaller version of that. But that's what I saw. I did not see a baby. I saw the bag, I saw the wires, I saw this breathing machine that was bigger than his face. I did not see a baby at all. So 2 days later, that is my husband holding Gabriel for the first time. I was shocked. 900 grams, the smallest thing I've ever seen in my life. He looked like a little Barbie doll. And that day I remember so well, because I think the effects of the medication had faded away from me. I was kind of, oh, what is this? And at that day, everybody came to talk to me, all the nurses and doctors and residents and fellows and I don't know who else. And they were talking CPAP, vent, TPN, PICC line, CBC. Okay, what language is that? It sounds all Greek to me. I did not understand a word that they were saying. It was very, very scary. Next. So those are my first feelings into the NICU. Fear of the unknown, pain, like a huge physical pain, but the emotional pain, it was gigantic because it was totally unexpected to be in that environment, to be in that situation. And loss, of course, loss of my twin, but also loss of my hopes and dreams for my children. And I really feared the unknown. I remember that same day that my husband was holding Gabriel, it was our second day, and this fellow doctor came to talk to us, and he told me Gabriel had a heart condition called PDA. I totally freaked out because I started crying, and he said, why are you crying? I said, well, because I just lost one child from a heart condition. Now you're going to tell me that my surviving twin also has a heart condition. And that day, I shut down. That day, I did not want anybody to come to tell me anything about Gabriel. That was my strategy for 2 weeks. My husband would call the unit, get an update, what's going on with Gabriel today, so I could come in. So my nurses knew, do not talk to me. You can talk about the weather, your personal life, but not talk about my child. I just sat down, did my journal, and just stayed there watching the monitor. So that's when, that's when everything started to change for me. First of all, I got 2 amazing primary nurses, Edna, my mama bear, and Karen. This is Dasha, as you guys know. I had to put Dasha because she always made me laugh. So that's when everything started to change for me in the NICU. Because the nurses really had a key role in my life. They were my pillars of support in my whole journey. They started translating the NICU for me in mom's terms. Edna told me that CBC was not my news show, was actually a blood test. And I said, okay, I kind of like to know what's happening. I like to know the terminology that I'm using. I want to know a little bit more each day what was happening. So at that point, we were not introduced to family integrated care. It was still a pilot project called TLC. And they knew I couldn't commit to stay in the unit for 8 hours in the beginning because my life turned upside down in 24 hours. And I had Thomas at home. I had to make arrangements. I don't have family in Canada. So I couldn't commit to 8 hours, but I was not told about this program. We joined Domino study, but not family integrated care. But nevertheless, they treat me as if I was part of the program. Later I found out because they totally made me feel involved in Gabriel's care. My primary nurse really taught me how to take care of Gabriel, how to change his diaper. It took me 10 minutes more than it would take for her, how to take his temperature, how to clean his eyes. and eventually how to give him a bath. She showed me how to do everything, how to be a mom in the NICU, because I didn't know my place. Okay, I'm here, all of you taking care of my child. What am I doing here? I could hardly touch him, so it was very hard. But being involved in his care gave me a purpose to be at the hospital. And as I got stronger physically, I would spend more hours here. So you talk about skin to skin before. And for us, for 7 weeks, that Gabriel's on a vent. Jen knows, because, no, go back. Gabriel was, he tried every machine in the house. He was on a vent for 7 weeks. And it was extremely hard to bring him out. He was always swinging, and the alarms were always going off. And during that time, it was very hard. I only held Gabriel 4 times. And I'm really grateful for those 4 times because I know how hard it is to bring a baby out on the vent, because the unit is busy, there is a rush, and there was 4 people to bring him out on that day, and the RT was holding the tube the whole time I was doing kangaroo care with Gabriel. But now when I see family integrated care supporting skincare so much, and how much better the outcome for that child is when you do more kangaroo care, I love that, to know that information, that there is more participation of the parents, and the nurses are really embracing doing more skin to skin, even though it's hard. And I know it's hard for you because it's busy. I cannot even imagine the new unit when you have single rooms and you cannot keep your eye on everybody at the same time. But when you look at your purpose, why you are a nurse, why you do what you do. And if you think of the outcome for that family, for the mom, the dad, and the child, it's okay, goes back to your purpose. Okay, let's do it, despite the difficulties that you might face on that day. So learning how to recognize his needs, for me, that was one of the most important things down the road. Of course, it was important while I was at the hospital, to learn to recognize Gabriel's needs, to know how hard he was breathing, or how to, my God, I was freaking out that day when they took him out of the CPAP to give him a bath without anything on his face. I was panicking. But it's just like, don't look at the monitor. Look at Gabriel. Look at his lips. Is it changing colors? How hard is his breathing? So I learned that, and that was such a wonderful skill to learn. You guys gonna know why a little bit later. And finally, 6 weeks before we got discharged, that we didn't know you were gonna be discharged yet, one mom said to me, oh, you spend 10 hours at the hospital every day, you don't leave his bedside, you know how to do everything, you do these family meetings, why are you not in family integrated care? I said, I don't know. So I asked Claire, say, Claire, can I join? It was such a, like, we were here for 4 months already. She said, absolutely. And what made me sign up for the program was something called education sessions, which is this slide. For me, when I heard about education sessions, it changed everything for me, because even though I was participating in the Tuesday night classes, on the LC programs they have in the afternoon, at that point in the NICU, at that point in my journey, I wanted more information. I'm not a Google mom, I never Google anything, what's happened in ICU, but I wanted to learn everything that was happening to Gabriel that day. So when he was developing ROP and kept going, I learned what is his ROP today, what is his stage 3, what is his stage 4, what does it mean to have a laser surgery or Avast injections. So I just want to learn what was relevant for me that day. And the education sessions gave me that support, because even though it was not catered to what I needed to know, but I understood the medication that was happening, the reflux medication, the fortifiers in my breast milk, all about his developmental care. Okay, sorry. So what I'm going to talk about this slide is knowledge is power, right? And when you have the knowledge, you do much better. When you know better, you do better. And I felt so empowered because I had some knowledge, and I could actually ask doctors questions. Because in the beginning, I would ask my nurse, what should I ask? I didn't even know what to ask, because everything was so new. But as I participate in more education sessions, and I participated in rounds that I loved it, I really felt empowered to ask, and they made me believe that, okay, no question is that stupid. Even though they ask those questions 20 times in the same day, in the same hour by other parents, is still valid because it's your question. So they always made me feel good about what questions I had that day and what I wanted to learn about my child. So there are a few things into the education sessions that were so important to me. Developmental care is one of them. I had a child already, so I kind of knew what to expect in terms of development and his milestones. But let me tell you, Marianne said, everything is going to be by corrected age, and you got to watch for the signs. And I said, well, what is she talking about? What signs? When I went home, I realized what she was talking about, because Gabriel was extremely behind. But we had intervention right away, because I left the hospital with 20,000 referrals in the community. I knew all the resources. So we had OT, PT, everything from the get-go. But I noticed Gabriel was falling behind, and I was in denial. Even though I was doing everything, I was in denial that something was not right at that point, until last year in February, Gabriel was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which was not in our radar because we didn't have the brain bleeding. We didn't know there was a PVL. We didn't know. Brain wasn't in the radar. Everything was breathing. But because of that, I knew something wasn't right. So that was so important when I think about family integrated care, that you guys embrace, and it's so important why the families are here. The impact afterwards is what excites me, that this gets implemented here right now. And again, like going back to the classes, the pharmacy, dietitian, and LC support was so important. This is my freezer at home. I had milk probably to feed the whole unit. And the support was amazing, because I understood how important it was to keep pumping and breastfeeding Gabriel. And those particular sessions were so important to me, because once you go out in the community, you're going to see a brand new team of doctors. They do not know your child. They want to start everything from the beginning, from scratch. Oh, let's try this, let's try that. No. I had my binder. I knew exactly what had been tried before, what worked, what didn't work. So we didn't have to start from square one, because they already knew. They want to try new reflux medication. No, we already tried this. Doesn't work. Let's move on, do something else. We didn't start from square one. That was so important. So this was trying to make our life a little normal in that situation. I put in red family integrated care, because at that time when I was here 3 years ago, I found the program very focused on the moms. Even though we call family integrated care, but I think it was more moms integrated care. It's all about the moms, which is so important, because we are the ones really who spend so many hours here. But we have it to really integrate the family, because what happens now, I've been out for 3 years, almost 3 years. I know a lot of other families, and it takes a big toll in our marriage. And that's the reality, because men and women cope with stress differently. Right? I went into Mama Bear mode. My husband went to the cave. He had to work, make sure the family was taken care of, and take care of Thomas at home. So how can you integrate mom, dad, siblings into the program? And I think it's so important to think about it and how we could do this, because it is hard, it is stressful, because I'm here for 5 months, then I go home and I say, okay, my husband has no idea how to take care of Gabriel, because he was at work all the time to support us financially, emotionally, mentally. He was a strong one in our family, in our case. So I got into trouble with that picture. I'm not going to tell by who. So this was very close to our discharge date. And I love that picture, because Thomas, he was 3 at the time when everything happened, and Mama disappeared from home. Where is my mom? I don't see my mom. My mom is not around. I don't do anything with her. Even though we tried to bring him to the hospital every Sunday, I was not there for him for those months. And when he came that day, he said, "Can I hold my brother?" And I couldn't say no. You went, you went against the hospital policy, and one of the nurses helped us, I'm not going to name who, so Thomas could hold Gabriel for 2 minutes. And to this day, he talks about the day he held his brother for the first time, because it was important to him. It was his brother, and he was expecting with us. Okay, when I'm going to see he always say my baby brother and baby sister. He was expecting 2 babies. All of a sudden, there is 1 baby, and all of a sudden, there is a baby in the hospital, and all of a sudden, mom disappeared. So we tried to bring some normality to our lives at that time. And finally, our discharge day came after 146 days. That was a bittersweet day for me. It was a very hard day to say goodbye to the people who actually supported me. I had no family in Canada. So my nurses were my pillars here, and Edna just, she changed my life forever, and it was very hard, but at the same time, I had so much confidence that I could take care of that child at home, no matter what. Gabriel came home on oxygen for another 7 months, and thank you.
Just roll.
And, sorry. But I had the confidence that, and I knew I could take care of him, because everything that I learned, all the support that I have at this hospital. And next picture is us at home. Is our new normal, and I live by the new normal. That's what Dr. Diabomba told me. She said, Gabriel's going to be discharged on oxygen. So she gave me the good news, and then on oxygen. And I was totally overwhelmed. And she said to me, this will be your new normal. And believe me, I lived by that today. Everything that happens in our lives is the new normal. Gabriel got a diagnosis of CP. He has a spastic quad CP, so he doesn't sit down, he doesn't walk. It's our new normal. And for me, it's always, okay, how can you adapt to this new reality that we have? And I think I really get, not I think, I know I gained that strength, that thinking, the way of thinking, by being here for so many months. It really changed my perspective, how I see things, and grateful for what I have. Because one day I was told that I could not be a mom, and now I am. I had 3 kids, right? So I'm grateful for everything that happened, and the NICU really changed me for the better. So I love to share that story, because that story is when I realized the impact of family integrated care in my life. So we were discharged in October, and in December, beginning of December, I was planning to have our first Christmas at home. Nobody around, because you could not get sick, right? No germs in the house, you couldn't go anywhere. But 4 of us would celebrate Christmas at home. Halfway through December, Gabriel started getting sick. And I knew something was not going right. So I took him to his pediatrician who works in a community hospital. And he said, I think Gabriel has pneumonia. He did an x-ray, it showed pneumonia of aspiration. Oh, let's admit him here. I didn't think any of it. You're in a local hospital with a 26-weeker on oxygen, just got discharged 2 months ago, but yeah, let's admit him at this hospital. 1 week into the hospital, Gabriel got sicker and sicker and sicker every day, until December 24th in the morning. I was breastfeeding Gabriel, and I noticed he's going through respiratory distress. And I look at his lips, and his lips were turning colors, and gray and blue. And then I remember those words, when you don't know what to do, you start CPR. And I did. I put him on the crib, and I did CPR. And then I look at the monitor. He was starting at 40. He was totally blue by then. And then I saw bottom, cold blue, and everybody came and rescued Gabriel. So my next picture was taken 8 hours later at Sick Kids. We had to fight for 8 hours to get Gabriel transferred to Sick Kids. But we did. We spent our Christmas Eve in the ICU at Sick Kids. And that, I love that picture, and I'm always grateful for Marianne for teaching me CPR, and because I can never thank you enough for that, because you cannot never thank enough anyone who gives the gift of life. And that's what she gave to me by teaching me CPR, and that's the strength that I learned from each one of you to gain those life skills, the strength to become an advocate to save my son's life on that day. So this is us in February. That's Gabriel, the blue shirt. So those are the words that I could condense to family integrated care, what it means to me and what made our lives way much better because of it. It really gave me the confidence, as I said before. The life skills that I learned here is really for life. I became Gabriel's big advocate, because being a mom of a special needs child, you have to be an advocate. The strength that I didn't know that I had inside me, the knowledge that I gained, and now I know what to research, where to research, which kind of questions ask the doctors, because I really learned this here. And the gratitude, that's the state that I live my life. I live in a constantly state of gratitude, because it's all about what we have today. It's not what I don't have. It's not about the child that I wish was running. It's about the child that I have and all the things that he taught me. And just looking at him and see his smile on his face and his power, like that powerful will to live, that's what makes me wake up every morning, live my life really on purpose now. So I didn't know the family integrated care now is all over, but my question is not if you want to join family integrated care. I think the question is when on your journey to the NICU you're going to join family integrated care. I don't think I would have joined on my first week here, because when I heard 8 hours, it was a big commitment for me. But I would have joined 3 weeks into the hospital. But I don't look back, I look forward. And those 6 weeks that I was part of this program were really life-changing for me. But it was all because of you guys, because of your commitment to make this happen, to make our lives better. And you give so much of your time, of your life to us. And as Lori said, we really appreciate it. Maybe you don't show our appreciation as we should, because you are in the worst of stress, living between life and death. But it is really what you do for us is really change our lives, and I'm really grateful for all of you. So thank you.